Hey everyone, welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. I'm Nerdarchist Ted, and today I'm joined by...
Nerdarchy Dave.
And today we're going to dive back into Critical Role Campaign 2, Episode 21.
I want to start this video by thanking our sponsor, Easy Roller Dice. Whether it's your first set of dice or your 1 millionth set of dice, Easy Roller Dice for all your dice rolling needs. Down in the description you can find a special link as well as a one-time coupon code for a whopping 20% off. That link is easyrollerdice.com/nerdarchy. Go check them out. Go show the sponsor some love. Go get some Easy Roller Dice.
Alright, so we're getting into Critical Role Campaign 2, Episode 21.
Yeah, man. We've been doing it for a while. It's a lot of hours invested. This was a long one. Nearly a whopping 5 hours long. Not only that, right? There was a lot less at the end than they normally put.
Oh, yeah. Usually there's 15 minutes in the beginning. Nice long break. 15 minutes at the end. So, you can typically, take an hour off of watching if you're not watching live.
Yeah.
But this time, it didn't feel like that. It got to the end, and all of a sudden, we're watching on Alpha, and for me, it's it went right into episode 1, and I'm like, whoa, okay then.
Well, and so there was a couple things. And not only that, too, there was the new special D&D Beyond kind of trailer that was in the middle, so maybe you didn't fast forward so quickly as you might have normally.
Well, they don't not only had it in the middle, but they had it in the beginning as well, and I gotta say, call me what you will, but I've watched it multiple times, during the video as well as afterwards. Scrolling through Facebook, the Geek and Sundry page, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna watch this a couple times.
I'm gonna watch it again.
Call me what you will. But,
that was the Thundercat theme song, right? Pretty much.
Sort of
Remastered,
they
remixed.
They were inspired by. I think you would say it, but I think Sam did a wonderful job with it. He joked about during the gameplay he was talking about it, and it's he recorded multiple sessions so that he was harmonizing with himself. Nice. So that was pretty awesome.
It was definitely really cool. I enjoyed it. I thought that was a lot of fun. We had a special guest from High Rollers, Matt Hughes from across the pond. Mark. My bad. Mark Hughes, I meant. Too many Matts out there. But yeah, I guess he's in town for the Stream of Many Eyes.
Yeah, he's DMing for it. So this is gonna go up after the stream is over. But if you happen to check that out, you can see him DMing.
Absolutely, and it'll be up somewhere anyway, so you'll be able to find it. It's not like you missed your chance,
right?
For sure. So so they had a chance to have him on, and he was playing a female human sorceress origin. Draconic, I believe.
Half-elf sorcerer with the draconic path. Definitely black dragon, focused on fire and acid for her damaging spells.
Yeah, you remember much better than me. I was female as a human? Was it half-elf?
Half-elf.
Yeah, statistically superior.
Calliana.
Callie for short.
Callie for short. Not to be confused with Kiri, the baby Kenku that's tagging along.
Yeah, I love that addition to the party. She is the best, and it really makes for some great moments for Matt to shine when it comes to the role playing.
It's great because he then gets to literally parrot back the accents or the voices of the other cast members.
So I kind of had two epiphanies this session.
Okay.
One is I actually don't really like combats for D&D watching.
Okay.
So when there's less combat in the episodes, I actually enjoy them much more because I just prefer the interaction with the NPCs, the story, the players interacting with each other. I think that's the highlight for me anyway, is the players interacting with each other. And now when Matt interjects these different NPCs, that's a lot of fun. Honestly, if I'm laying on the couch and watching and it goes into a combat, I have to sit up or stand or do something, or I will literally fall asleep watching the combats. They just bore the heck out of me. Sometimes the players might do something cool and interesting, like Caleb and Nott when they did their damn it, what was it called, Ted? I know you're gonna remember. Literary something or other. From a couple episodes back. This past episode, they were telling Beau to do it.
I don't remember the specific maneuver, but they pulled a job where he fired at at Caleb.
Yeah, I know what it is. I know what it was. I just don't remember what they called it.
I don't remember the particular
modern literature.
There you go.
It was in there somewhere. You know, like, so occasionally they'll do something like that, and it's cool. But overall, the combat kind of just, like, slogs on. And I think that's a part of D&D, for me personally, is a lot more fun to watch or play than it is to watch. Now, the other thing I think like Yasha's starting to come alive a little bit more with this session and getting a little bit more into her character. It seemed to me, so hopefully we see a little bit more of that.
Well, I think, now this is just my personal observations from watching, campaign 1. I'm up to, I'm done 57 episodes of the first one, and now, 21 of season 2. I think Ashley is just a little bit more reserved, regardless of what she's playing. And, Pike, it's like, oh, I'm going to be nice and I'm going to be Healy, and every once in a while I'm going to do, this thing here. But I haven't really seen a lot of the super emotional that I've seen out of, Liam and Lara and Marisha. Like,
I always just want to call them by their character names.
Well, I was trying to do that because there's, they're each playing 2 characters, and I'm kind of watching, side by side, at times.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So, like they get very heavily into what's going on. Laura, it doesn't matter whether she's playing, Vex from the first campaign or Jester in the second. Like, she is, to my observation, very pessimistic in combat. If things are not going swimmingly, it's like, I'm gonna die. We're all gonna die. Like, and to me, that's a bit comical to watch.
So that's a Laura trait, not a Jester trait.
Right. And there's things that you pick up on that are part of each of their characters' personality, or each of the actors' personalities, that it doesn't matter what they're playing, you can see things like seeping in, and it's amusing to watch. Now, I will agree that sometimes the combats are just not super exciting. There are times in campaign 1 where they had an entire session that was 95% combat. It started off, combat had ended, or combat was still going from last session. They get into the combat still. It takes up the bulk of the session, and there's just a little bit of role playing at the end. I'm like, wow, that was a 3-hour combat. Holy crap.
Well, in all fairness, it's happened. We've done that plenty of times too. Right. It's definitely easy to do. So I'm just saying, like, it's something to me that's a lot of fun to play, not so much to watch, and that's just a personal observation that I have. So for me, I like it best when they kind of like there's a mix. So like in this episode, it was cool. We started off with them, waking up and getting ready to set out, and then they pick up Mark's character, and I think he did a really good job of role playing his half elf sorcerer, and is definitely added a different dynamic to the group. And this character is like kind of like optimistic and naive and trying to do good, where the Mighty Nine can be kind of like shitty people at times. is what I'm observing.
Well, I think in this episode, like, Beau calls out, it's like, yeah, we're kind of assholes.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was literally her line. So
yeah, they're not like stand-up true heroes in the sense. They're a little bit grimmer, a little bit darker.
Fjord literally calls us like, all right, we're gonna go do this thing, but we kind of need some compensation. It's like, oh crap.
Yeah. And then they finally have breakfast, talk, chat, get that all going. They get into the swamp. They have their guide. While they're in the swamp, they discover, a hidey hole, which they believe later belongs to a troll that's like stalking them.
Yeah, they want, like, there's a couple things that all happen, intermixed. This troll that they come across, they can't tell whether it's undead or what's going on, and the players really have a little bit of misconception by the term troll. They think it's something that's like, much smaller. So like when he eventually puts it on the map, and he puts down the troll, that's borderline huge, not just large.
Yeah, Jester's like, I wouldn't have tried to talk to that.
So that part was pretty amusing. There is some combat with some carnivorous plants that are pretty.
They were like almost more like hazards than combat, only because they like spotted them beforehand.
Well, Fjord walks into a thing of pollen, and as it bursts and he starts getting a little disoriented, Callie is like, well, I could just clear the area and we can just walk on through. And when he's like, I cast Fireball, I'm like, holy crap. And then Matt's like, yeah, roll damage. And I'm like, oh, this isn't what I thought it was. Okay, what's going on here? And like they then take it out without it being able to do anything further, and then they avoid the next one. But then they wind up, they find this troll. They find the lair that it was found because Jester had heard what sounded like wind chimes. And when they investigated, it was like, oh, this isn't really wind chimes, it's wind chimes, but it's made out of bone and sinew, not, metal and wood and what have you. So that was kind of creepy. There's a pile of bones inside, but then they encounter this troll that's lurking around. And as Jester does, like, invoke duplicity to try and get close and talk to it, just to see what it's going to do, she's smelling the flowers and picking leaves, and the troll peers out from behind a tree and tries to, latch her and run. And when he realizes hand goes right through it, he's kind of confused and he quick pulls back. So they kind of, I don't know whether they did an insight check or whether he just gave it to him. But it's like, yeah, your group is massive. There's 10 of you.
He just told them, I believe.
This thing is not prepared to come on and take you head on. He's looking to pull stragglers.
Yeah, so from there they find, they kind of find the markings to get to the safe house, but then they also find bodies attached to the trees, strung up. And Jester's like, "Ooh, I learned a new trick from the Traveler. I want to share it with you guys."
I want to talk to the dead. So as she's asking these questions and doing the typical Jester thing of every once in a while being completely wasteful of resources, including the number of questions, the types of questions that's going to ask. It's like, "What's your favorite food?" is something that she was tossing out as a possible option to say. That's when Sam is like, "Well, where's our guide?"
Nope. Oh, before that, what happens a little bit different. No, the guide freaks out because he's like, I didn't sign on for no necromancy.
Oh, that is true.
You guys are freaking me out, and he starts backing up, and that's when Sam goes, "Hey, you might not want to stray very far because there's a troll back there." And the troll appears like on cue, grabs the guide, and then starts chucking with him.
So, this is where I question what was Matt's plan? Was the troll out of it and Sam bringing it back up, or did he have planned that this was the sequence of events because damn it, I put a troll and I want to see what happens. I wonder, because to me it's like, okay, as a typical DM, all right, you moved past that encounter, all is great. But the player then prompted, all right, I gotta work with this and mess around with them. So that's how I would have done it. So
I probably would have forgotten about the trolls, the DM, and maybe used it later. But then the player saying something would have been like, yeah, that's what's going to happen right now, because that would be just too perfect for it not to happen right now.
For it to not happen.
Yeah, for it to not happen. And, so with that, the troll grabs him, runs. So they all react and they try and save the guide, and they start, attacking, with various means. And when they do, this poison burst from the troll, Beau eventually gets right up to it and wants to try and stunning strike it. She writhes instantly when she gets up to it that the guide is way dead, and she's like, our gold is getting away. Some of them are like, well, we kind of know where it's going to go. It's like a safety deposit box for now.
Well, she punches it 3 times and takes a ridiculous amount of damage from its own, bursted venom. And then being right in its face, she's able to then see that, okay, well, the guide's dead. She wasn't able to determine whether it was from the earlier attacks that had happened or from what she had done. But at that point in time, her being within 5 feet, it's like done. And it then becomes a question of, okay, well, who's next? What's going on? And it becomes this big, fight of if you're going to damage it, it's going to hurt whoever's within 5 feet of it, which is utterly devastating. Beau winds up going down from,
Fjord.
from
Fjord, Eldritch blasting it, and then they're like, oh no. And then I'm like, I'm the DM. It's got to scoop her. It's got to take her. That's what the troll was doing.
So it's got the guide in one hand. It grabs Beau by the ankles with the other and starts trucking as well. And like they're wanting to just sit there and attack, and
They can't.
Matt's like, I don't know what's going to happen here. Am I going to kill my wife?
Caleb decides to use the glove, and misses luckily.
Well, no. He steps up. He's like, he was planning to scorching ray. And he's like, no, I'm going to magic missile. And, like, the party, like, turns on him. And he's like, all right, I'll do nothing, So he holds off his action. And, then that's when Callie steps in and is like, all right, I'm going to try something crazy. Can I cast Levitate on Beau? And I'm like, how is this going to work? Like, so Matt ruled that he got to use his Arcana as the grapple check.
Yeah.
And he rolled crap. But Matt rolled worse.
Yeah, he rolled like a 2.
So, like, the 10...
Well, allegedly, Matt rolls behind the screen, so who knows what he really rolled.
I think Matt's on the up and up, but, I don't know.
I don't know. I roll my dice out in the open, so whatever happens, happens.
So, up goes Beau, and then... this was after Jester healing words her.
Yeah, and she kind of like plays dead.
So she plays dead in the arms. I was like, all right, is it going to get damaged again? Coming out of the claws. What's Matt going to do here? He could be evil, but he wound up being nice. They then, try to bring the troll down, but the troll just trucks it. The troll has no problem moving through the difficult terrain, while the PCs definitely do. So they try as they might.
Before too long, they're like, yeah, this is actually just a pain in the ass. We know where he lives.
So he gets away. The troll gets away with the guide and the money that the guide had on him, or whatnot. So we'll see what they wind up doing with that. But they continue on their path to the safe house.
They get directions from the dead guy.
Which is like, it's 100 yards that way. Just,
And they're like, oh yeah, we can see it. They start joking. They couldn't really see it, but it was still kind of funny.
So like they follow, the way that this thing's, face pointed. And like there's this murky lake with a big tree in it. And, on one of the branches is just this, light blue scarf that's tied to it, and they begin manipulating around and what have you. And Callie starts clearing the water, with her magic, and they're trying all different kinds of stuff. Jester starts looking for knots within the wood. They try pulling on the branch with a mage hand, and they just they're not able to find anything at first.
Only if they had somebody with them that knew.
So eventually Jester rolls an investigate check and realizes that there's some driftwood that's been made into like a makeshift doorway that it's not so easy to see. And they're able to move it, and there's this alcove into this massive tree. We find out that the tree is actually like got an inside that's 30 foot across, so it's a lot bigger than what I was envisioning at first. And like, this is it. They don't see anything at first, and again, they look around, they make some checks, and they find, off in the back, a hole leading down. They go down, or Nott goes down at first, going through this little slip and slide thing. And at the bottom, she then sees that there's these, as Matt described it, nightmarish fish people. And, they begin messaging us like, oh no, there's more of them than there are me. If you're going to come down quietly. You can reply to this message.
Of course, the messaging is always the best. And, they go down, they have an interesting fight, Fjord is actually super effective and, cuts them off and basically takes control of the terrain. One of the interesting things that Sahagin do is they use harpoons with lines attached to them. So when they hit with them, they're able to reel people in, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I always dig Sahagin, however you want to pronounce it. So they get in there, they get into this fight, and with a little bit of work, a little bit of effort, they do wind up, bringing them down, and they want to then investigate and try to figure out, okay, where's the stuff? Callie's really interested in this bowl, so they begin scooping coins and stuff, out of the water. And when Nott gets her little hands on a bowl, she's like, I wanna just slip it into my stuff and not be seen. Of course, because it's that's Nott. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Well,
I would say it's because Nott believing it's magic wants to give it to Caleb and use it to make Caleb more powerful. Like, that's a reoccurring theme with Nott.
Yeah.
So that I think that's our motivation in this case. Sometimes it's just because their valuables are shiny, but in this case, I think she's trying to feed the beast that is Caleb.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree on that one as well. So she winds up getting a 28 on her check versus I think like
an 8,
the 8 and 10 that Callie got. So it was definitely a one-sided thing. And there winds up being some more, role playing and some discussion. Fjord dives in and goes to investigate further. After like 40, 50, 60 feet, he comes to another area where he can find air. And, he peeks up, sees, more of these Sahagan creatures, more loot with, crates and boxes. And, part of me is like, all right, they're ready to charge in and go kill some more stuff. This is going to be interesting.
Well, you know what though? I'm really curious to see where this goes here, if it goes anywhere at all, because we have Sahagan in the swamp. Like, that's not really a normal place for Sahagan, in my opinion. So, hopefully this is leading to some kind of cool like subplot or short story arc or something involving the Sahagan, and it's just not a random. I want to use Sahagan and I'm going to put them in the swamp because it'll be different. I feel like it calls for more than that. Like, there should be like, why are they in a swamp? Are these special swamp Sahagan? Which, all right, that could be cool in itself. Let's get into that a little bit. Or are these Sahagan, which are normally found in the ocean and seas, and they've come into the swamp for a purpose?
Yeah, there could be something going on, and Matt's usually pretty good about sometimes using short story arcs, long story arcs. So I'm inclined to think that this is going to be something that there's something there, not just a throwaway. It's just an encounter, and I want to do something interesting. So Fjord comes back, tells them what's going on. They begin trying to figure out what the plan is. They're going to, they want to do a long rest before they go forward. They're going to set up an alarm spell. And, they turn to Callie and it's like, okay, well, what do you think? And she's like, well, I really need that bowl. And I really thought it was going to be here. And if it's not here, then I need to go look for it elsewhere. And that's when, Caleb steps up, pulls out the bowl, and is like,
Yeah, because Nott had revealed it to him, and he's like, look, I want to give this to you, but I need to know that you're not going to use it for evil, essentially.
Yeah,
and the whole party essentially explodes and gives him a shit over it.
So, like, while Fjord was exploring and people were conversing, Nott had slunk off to the side, gave it to him. He immediately cast Identify on it. He knows that it's a device that's used for communion to be able to talk to Tiamat, but it's got to be filled with, a sentient creature's blood in order for it to work, which he's not really keen on. So, like, he's a good guy in that regards, but he's still being reserved. He still is not like, oh, yeah, sure, here you go. I trust you. Go ahead and do it. He's got trust issues.
Big time. And Beau has a huge issue with this. Jester has a huge issue with this. Fjord and Molly are kind of more of a middle ground.
Yasha just doesn't care.
And Yasha just doesn't give an F.
So, like, they wind up, drawing out these, these discussions, this conversation, and, Callie is like, look, you cast magic on somebody to discern the truth. Cast it on me. I will not resist your magic, and hopefully you'll then be able to trust me. She reveals that she's trying to keep it from the cult of the caustic heart, the servants of the scaled tyrant, and
that's Matt's version of Tiamat. I take it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he actually used the name Tiamat at some point in time in this session, but there's sometimes you got to throw out qualifiers, titles, just because it's a lot more fun. So he casts suggestion on her. and says, reveal the truth. She reveals all this information. She wants it destroyed or hidden away so that these people can't get it. He's afraid that, if they have it, they're going to find her or someone like her, i.e. someone with draconic origin that they can use to fuel this thing's power and, bring this holy terror, down upon the world.
Well, Callie does allude to the fact that they need two. They need her and someone else to do something.
I thought it was, that they would find either Callie or someone else. That was my interpretation. I could be wrong.
Yeah, well, no, that's accurate, but it was also that they needed two people to do whatever it is they were trying to do.
Okay.
Callie and someone else like her. So they're definitely trying to do something with that, and it's surprising it was Yasha that came up with the idea of what they could try and do, because she's been quiet through most of this stuff, and a lot of times she just kind of rolls with what the party does, but then she comes up with a great idea. It's like, what if we use that sword that destroys magic to try and destroy the bowl?
So it's like, I'll cast Detect Magic while I'm swinging the thing.
Dispel.
Yeah, sorry, Dispel Magic. Did I say destroy?
Yeah. Use Detect.
Oh, sorry. Just cast Dispel Magic while I'm swinging the blade, and Matt's like, I like that idea. Like, you can see the gears rolling.
So,
and
I wonder what the DC was in his mind, because she only got like a 13 total.
Right.
And then maybe, or it could have even been one of those things we do as DMs. Sometimes we're like, yeah, roll a die. And then you're like, oh, what if they roll shitty? And I just want something cool to happen here, but I just asked them to roll a die.
I've done it. I've done it.
So I was like, 13, there's no way Matt's going to have something cool happen on a 13.
So
I was wrong.
Yeah. So the bowl winds up shattering, and the pieces kind of go sailing. And
the back is a cool description of how she feels like the magic kind of like momentarily for an instant weaken and fade, and you kind of part like a curtain for her, and she's able to slam into the bowl, destroying it. So it was a really cool description. It was a cool thing to happen. And then there was like these cool visuals that happened, like these different color sparks shooting off of Yasha's character, and then like her belt buckle, which is like I guess it's the sigil of her deity. He kind of was like glowing and stuff. So that was kind of cool. And now I kind of feel like Yasha might be marked now for these like dragon cultist people.
It could be,
which would be kind of cool.
I mean, anytime you can keep storylines ever present, I think that's a great thing to do. It's like, all right, if she's marked by these cronies, these guys because she destroyed one of their sacred objects, like, all right, that's going to keep this storyline alive. We would then be able to possibly get a reoccurrence of Callie either as an NPC or Mark coming back. I've seen from the first campaign that characters who were portrayed by special guests have been NPCs, later on within the story. So, like, I know that there's already a history of that kind of stuff going on. So only time will tell. She destroys the bowl. Callie's, ready to set off. I think they're ready to set camp, but this is where they ended, hoping that next time they can go further and kill some more Sahagin.
Yeah, turn that into a murder hole. I think their plan is to try and lure them out and try and pick them off one by one. But we'll have to wait till next week to find out. I don't know. It was a fun episode. Like I said, I've learned some things about what I enjoy about Critical Role from this episode. The question is, guys, what do you think? How did you like this episode? What were your favorite moments? We got a place where we can talk about it. That is down in the comments below. While you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
While you're down there, don't forget to check the description and check out that link to Easy Roller Dice, and don't forget to use that promo code.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.